For over a decade, northeast Nigeria has faced humanitarian crisis as a result of insurgency by non-state armed groups. This humanitarian crisis in northeast Nigeria remains one of the most severe in the world, with Yobe State being one of the most affected. The protracted conflict has weakened state systems and left communities to face aftershocks, with many households pushed into poverty.
The conflict has had devastating, impact on different spheres of the community. For instance, it has rendered many children out of school.
Gaskiya abubuwa da yawa ya tabarbare. Menene na farko ta makarantar yara, yaran da duk yana firamare aka zo tsawon shekara 6 bai je firamare ba.
The impact on freedom of movement, livelihoods, markets, and humanitarian access have resulted in high levels of food insecurity and malnutrition across the state.
It affects people directly by pushing people out of their homes, disrupting food production and supply, and also increase malnutrition in children under 5.
To wani lokaci kana girkin ma kana gani ba za ka iya kaci ba, za ka tsallake ka fita.
Daki fanka sai da ya yanko ya faɗo. Dukkanmu daga mu har yara babu wanda ya iya bacci, babu wanda ya iya cin abinci. Haka muka muni, haka muka wannan.
There were actually increase of sexual, gender-based violence due to the conflict, and also a lot of issues arising around children's protection.
In 2019, Yobe received an intervention through the EU Resilience Project funded by European Union with the support of Save the Children International, with the aim of strengthening early recovery and improve human development, social cohesion, and resilience among targeted vulnerable households and communities in Yobe State.
The project is being implemented in consortium with International Alert, Life Helpers Initiative, as well as Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center. It's a consortium project, and that's why we have partners implementing this project alongside Save the Children.
Our component in the EU Resilience is basically to address most of the issues related to the natural resource management and the early warning and early system signals.
Save the Children program through EU. The Ministry of Women Affairs has collaborated with the Save the Children through the project, because the Ministry of Women Affairs is taking care, is the lead of all women activities in the state.
To muna ce aniya nawa ganin kungiyar nan mai albarka a kullum addu'a muke mata. Mene addu'an da muke mata din nan? Kungiyar nan zuwanta ta faɗakar da jama'a mata da maza.
The EU Resilience Project has indeed impacted many lives, especially the conflict-affected and vulnerable households who had received financial support to access food and basic needs, trained up to 8,000 women and youth with skills linked to diversification of incomes and market opportunities.
The project is being implemented in 3 local government areas of Yobe State. We have Damaturu, Potiskum, and Gujba local government areas of Yobe State.
This training has impacted to the life of the women, because the insurgency has affected women mostly, because most of the women, some of the women lost their husband, they lost their dignity, they left their home, they are now at host community. So this project has touched their life in so many ways, because they have learned different skills.
Kuma keken nan ya fa mun samu amfani akan shi. Dan yanzu da ran sai keke ya kai 2 ma a dalilin lokacin da suka ba mu a lokacin zuwa yanzu. Ya ci na sai 2 ma. Gurin nan da rumfan kara ne, amma yanzu albarkacin dinki gashi nan na kewaye kwanan nan ma na sa kofar nan.
When we talk about this food security, The Save the Children were giving money for women in order to take care of their children by providing them a nutritious food.
Zuwan su tallafi a gare mu mun amfana saboda za mu siya abinci mu ba ma yaran mu masu kyau su ci.
These cash transfers were provided to them on a monthly basis. When we started this cash transfer, we started a transfer value of 7,500 per beneficiary, but we later on increased after we got approval from the donor. The 7,500 was increased to 10,000 naira per transfer value per month for each of these beneficiaries, and this was based on the outcome of the minimum expenditure basket that showed that there have been changes in cost in the prices of items as well as in the cost of living.
Da ba ni da wani sana'an da zan yi na ji daɗin shi na amfani kaina da 'ya'yana sakamakon zuwan wannan abin. Idan an biya mu kuɗi zan sayo wa ɗata kunu.
Wa Allah gashi nan sun tallafa min da inji wanda kafin injin akwai abubuwan da suka ba yara na tallafi na bangaren makaranta, sun tallafa na bangaren makaranta, sun ba su jakakkuna da wasu abubuwa littattafai har uniform. Amma alhamdulillah yanzu zan samu abin da za a saya musu abincin rana a cikin wannan, kuma kuɗin mashin din su ma lokaci sai na yi niƙa da safe zan ba su in ce gasu nan su tafi su je su hau mashin.
Sun tada ni tsaye na tsaya kuma da ni yanzu na rike jaura. Ina sana'a na a gida, ina da ɗan akuyata. Jauran na yana ɗan rufa min asiri tun da dai a ɗan wuni kana ɗan samun 500 ko 300 a dai bai ƙare ba.
Not only were they receiving, the livelihood support, the cash grants, but they were also, encouraged to form associations and groups of which it has really manifested and it has transformed the lives of the people.
We've been having a lot of success stories. How there are changes between children that have been given birth when the project came compared to those ones that have been with the that have been given birth before the coming in of the project. So that too is also part of our successes that we've had in the state.
Na mutane da ta dauka yanda ta ba su ilimi ko yanda ta koyar da lafiyar su, ta raba su yanda group wanda kuma za a yi abin zai samu kowa.
Wannan kungiya kan ta koyar da mu daga daukan ciki zuwa har wannan yaye yaro.
EU Resilience be able to change mothers' behavior that the first breast milk is so more important not to express cow milk or animal's milk and give it to their child.
Akan wannan na shayar da nonon uwa zilla, yanda yaro daga ranar da aka haife shi har zuwa wata 6. Sun wannan din mu ƙara koyar da mu akan family planning, yanda tsarin iyali yake.
Wa important din zuwa asibiti inda mace tana da ciki da sauran abubuwa nata.
We've had tremendous successes. For now, on the social protection component, we were able to achieve the approval of the social protection policy in Yobe State.
We identified 1,000 of these YESO youths. We provided them with complementary livelihoods training, as well as we provided them with livelihood startup kits, so that these youths can actually move from vulnerability to a form of sustainability, and also for them to be self-reliant.
They give a number of series of support like trainings of social workers, child protection actors, even the GBB actors in series of thematic areas like child protection, gender-based violence, psychosocial support, mental health and psychosocial support, caring for child survivors, a lot of, just to mention but few.
Tun daga kungiya na fara dan taba training din kaɗan suka kira mu training don abun game da yara, don ina malamin makaranta sun kira mu suka ce to in abun da ya shafi waɗanda suka fito daga gabar mu gani mu taka tsantsan, 'yan matan da ake cin zarafinsu da yara da ake cin zarafinsu mu tashi tsaye a kai.
There's social cohesion now. People tend to trust, are learning to trust, which was not there before. And also people are able to report sexual assault cases, which they were scared of reporting. Some will say when we report, the case just die off there. But no, now we have systems that would actually see to it that the perpetrator is actually being punished. And so people are happy, especially with the approval of the child protection law.
Amma a baya a kullum za ka ji wata ɗaya sati ɗaya biyu za ka ji an ci zarafi an kawo ƙorafi a wajenmu. Amma yanzu haka sai mu doke shekara ma ba magananta. Don faɗakarwar da wannan ƙungiyar ta yi ba ƙaramin nasara ne muka samu ba.
We also provided capacity buildings on child protection to community stakeholders. About 162 community stakeholders were trained on child protection, on psychological first aid, as well as on case management.
This intervention have really impacted on people. It have changed their way of life. In fact, it even introduced them because of the trainings these beneficiaries received. They are now able to enroll their children to school. They now know even the importance of allowing children to go to school instead of hawking, doing some child labor.
As a result of the support that I get from the EU through the Save the Children project or this thing, I use the allowance that I get to pay my children's school fees.
Da sunan babana, sunan kakana.
Yanzu na ji daɗi, yanzu ina zuwa makaranta, wannan bana kara zuwa talla, bana kara yin aikin wahala tunda su iyon suka shigo suna taimakon mu.
Kuma wallahi dama dai ba mu da takardu, yanzu kuma mun samu. Gaskiya muna yin rubutu a ciki, mun gode. Kuma ta ba mu injin markaɗe da shi muke yin markaɗe muke samu muna cin abinci.
The gains are sustainable, and considering the fact that from the onset we have been working with people embedded in the line ministries, it is easy for them to continue to use the tools which they are now familiar with to implement peace building initiatives.
The state government is doing its best, and we are going to continue. Though the project has just supplemented the effort of the government, we have been doing these activities, but with the help of the EU and Save the Children project, at least they help the government.
The longer term impact that we are leaving these people with is the learning, the capacity strengthening we did. We actually trained them on a lot of things. We also left the footprint which will be good for them, and they are following it.
If you ask me, actually, how have we fared? I'll actually tell you that we've actually got a 150% as regards our level of achievement on the project. Why? Because we've been able to move a whole lot of households that were actually in the state of vulnerability at the inception of this project. We've been able to move them to a state of sustainability as well as self-reliance.
We have strengthened the communities, or we have strengthened the stakeholders by providing them the necessary tools to move on with their life, to see if we can protect, prevent, transform them from falling into poverty. At least we've tried as much as possible to build the resilience of those communities and those beneficiaries to be able to stand on their own at the end of the project.
We were very, I said, and I repeat, very happy.
Thank you very much, EU Save the Children. We are very happy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
On behalf of myself, the ministry, and the entire good people of Yobe, say thank you to the project, the EU, and Save the Children for your wonderful support.
Ba abin da zamu gaya wa EU sai godiya, domin sun kawo mana ci gaba ba na wasa ba.
A gaskiya ba iya godiyan da zan yi a EU. Gaskiya godiyan mai tarin yawa ne, saboda gaskiya abin da suka mana mun gode Allah ya saka da alkhairi.